to Oikos, and as we say every week, Oikos is our humble attempt to allow Jesus to carry us home, where we find rest and we are refreshed for the work ahead. So tonight I wanted to share just a little bit about kind of what Oikos is. Lately we've been getting like a lot of new people. We had the couple last week, and then I met somebody on Sunday, and I just wanted to we're up to 35 subscribers, which I don't think I've ever seen 35 people in this room. So I'm like, hey, we got outsiders watching, so welcome. Okay, cool. Anyway, so I wanted to just talk a little bit about what Oikos is, the whole vision behind it. As we say every week, Oikos is our humble attempt where we allow Jesus to carry us home. And this is a passage taken out of Luke 15. And it's the parable of the lost sheep. So starting in verse 3, Jesus told him this story. If a man had 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will he do? Would he leave the 99 others in the wilderness to go search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And then this is where Oikos, the verse, comes from in verse 5. And when he has found it, he will joyfully carry him home on his shoulders. So at that time, or this time, we see that, especially after high school or just day-to-day life, it's so easy for us to become that lost sheep that gets away. But joyfully, the shepherd throws us on his shoulders and carries us home. So if you didn't know, oikos is the Greek word for home. And just that word home, like sometimes it just strikes a chord, sometimes it just feels emotional. It could be a very powerful word. After a long day of work or school or, what is it that you want to do? You just want to go home. There's no place like home. That word can be used as a comfort. There's a lot of ways you could say someone died, but one of the most comforting ways to tell someone, is that they went home to be with the Lord. There's just something wholesome about that word home. And oikos, this is our opportunity to just come home every Thursday. So I wanted to go back to our mission statement, but by saying, we allow Jesus to carry us home, and that's where we find our rest. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on tonight, is just rest. And I feel like, from life, okay, day-to-day life, I feel like this is something that we should kind of focus on, because I think, especially like for me, it's so easy to get caught up in my work, and it's so easy to just blow past it. But when we rest, we're getting refreshed for the work ahead, and also we're being restored. This is our body just kind of like kicking back up and like rejuvenating itself. So rest is so important. So right now we're a third of our way through our series Messiah, so we will pick up next week, God willing. We are praying for Angel that he's going to feel good and he'll be back next week. But this rest that we're going to be talking about, it's different than just kicking back with your shoes off and watching TV. This is the kind of rest where you find only in God. This is rest for our souls. So in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, Jesus said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden. Come to me with your heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls." And I just think that that's awesome. Especially, just talking with Nick right now, and like, he's saying philosophy, and there's gonna be so many challenges that we're gonna be facing, not just like physically, but mentally, emotionally, especially right now, even politically. Like, people are just saying things so out of context with the Bible, using words against us, and there's just a lot of mental, spiritual, like, ugliness going around, and Jesus isn't come to me with all of that, with all your burdens. Even in Matthew, there's a passage that says, the birds don't worry about where their next meal is gonna come from. We don't take thoughts on our life like that. Like, we don't worry about that. We just come to the Lord And he goes on and says in verse 30, my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you will be light. So it's important to just come to Jesus like that. I know we just finished John a few weeks ago, but we remember the Good Shepherd. Remember the shepherd that, the same shepherd that goes out after the one from the 99. But also David writes about the Good Shepherd and giving us rest and restoration. And it's in Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. And then this right here is what spoke to me, mostly because of the word that is used, but he makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters, but he makes me lie down. I thought that was really interesting because it's like, I see my sister, and we have an Australian cattle dog, and every 5 minutes she's yelling at him, sit, sit, making him sit. He's a very hyperactive dog, and she's making him sit. So, I'm not saying like we're dogs, but at the same time, it's, God has created rest. And I'm going to go jump into Genesis really quick. But finding that rest. In Genesis, in Genesis 1:27, we read that God has created man in his own image. And in the likeness of God, we see that he rested. So he created the whole world in 6 days, and on the seventh day, he rested. So I just thought it was really interesting, okay? But like just humans, people that we are, we have a breaking point. We can break emotionally, we can break physically, we can break morally. And in just today's culture, we see different parts of that happening. Even today, I was just on Facebook, and I just saw an athlete, and I forgot his name, but he had a season-ending injury. He broke his, or he tore a ligament in his knee, and he's out for the rest of the season. Or we see marriages being corrupted, or a husband cheating on a spouse. They're breaking morally. And this is just the reality of what we are. We aren't machines. We're people, and we break. We weren't created to work and deal with stresses 24 hours a day. That's just not how we were created. We were created in the likeness of God, and God on the seventh day chose to rest. So I don't know if like this has happened to you guys, okay? But like with me, I like to work a lot and like to do stuff. I like to keep myself busy, but in that I get like overworked, and then I'm fine one day, but then the next day I fall sick. Okay? And then if you have a mom like mine, she'll come in, she'll spray some Lysol, but she would say these words, and she would say, that's your body telling you to rest. So I don't know if like you guys have ever experienced that, but like it's just the weirdest thing. You're fine, and then the next day you're just in bed, and then you're fine again the following day. And that's basically, it's the body. If we're not going to slow down, that's our body telling us to stop. If we're not going to stop, we will get stopped. Okay? So I'm going to go to Genesis 2 now. So after God had finished creating the world in 6 days, I'm going to start in chapter 2. It says, thus the heavens and the earth and the host of them were finished. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all the work he had done. And then right here in verse 3, it says, then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all the work which God had created and made. So God, God's God. God being the creator, nothing's too big for God. God could have just snapped his fingers and the world could have been created. He could have created it in minutes, but he chose to do 6 days. And on that seventh day, he chose to rest. He didn't rest because he was tired. It's not like, whew, all right, that was good stuff. And kick off the shoes and turn on some side film and call it a day. No, he didn't do that. God made a choice to rest on the seventh day. Um, and I think it's because of a couple reasons. One, he wanted rest to be part of the routine, part of our routine. God himself worked for 6 days, rested on the seventh. That's how he created us to be. He created us to work, but he also created us to rest. We're meant to go forward, but we're also meant to stop. Another example, and I'm going to use my sister again because she's sitting right there. But if you guys have an iPhone, you guys have iPhones? Okay, Nemo doesn't have an iPhone, so he probably doesn't. You do? Oh, so you probably understand now, or Sean, you don't. But iPhones, they have this thing, okay, where you're using your iPhone and it's fine, but then after a while it starts glitching, it starts like messing up. And Amanda, I think it was with your first iPhone, right? Your iPhone 5. Like it started just messing up, and she was telling me like, okay, well we got to take it in. I'm like, okay, well let's go take it in, okay. So we went to the Apple store in Cerritos Mall, and I didn't know till years later that they made a meme of this. But the guy asked us like, okay, cool, let me see your phone. Okay, have you tried turning it on and off again? And in my head, I'm like, of course we have. And Amanda didn't. She didn't turn it on and off again. And sure enough, he reset the phone and it worked fine. Okay, but that's a perfect example. Like, that's how we are. Like, we're just going. We're going to eventually, like, wear out. And we have to sometimes just turn ourselves off. Okay, we're built the same way. Another reason I think rest is important because this is the way I think the Lord intended it to be. The Ten Commandments in Exodus 20, you read that, keep the Sabbath day holy. And I wanted to just touch really quick, the Sabbath day is the day of rest. And that's where we get, Sabbath is the Hebrew, I'm getting lost in my words, okay, I'm sorry. But from the word Shabbat, that's the Hebrew word for rest. It also means like he stopped, he rested. But that's where we get the word Sabbath from. And in the days of Moses, the people would work, and they would work twice as hard on the sixth day so that they would have the seventh day off. So it was so important that God had to put it into the Ten Commandments and to keep it holy. And by keeping it holy, what does this mean? One of the words I like to use is consecrate. For example, like this water jug, when I consecrate it, this is my water jug, okay? This is mine, this is special to me, and no, you cannot have it. I know it has a cool sticker, but this is mine, okay? Another sense could be like Jody, my other sister, likes Costco cookies. Those are her consecrated cookies, those are her holy cookies, those are hers, and if you try to take one from her, you're gonna feel her wrath, okay? This is how the Sabbath works for God. This is God's anointed, his holy day. And this is the time he set apart for his rest, but also this is the intention that he has for us, that when we find rest in him. And he takes time out of our work so that we can spend time with him. It's a holy moment. It's sacred. And especially with like so much of life going on, we can't let things disturb our time from the Lord. So I wanted to keep my message just kind of relatively short because I asked Marlene to do, we're going to close out with a couple worship songs. But, especially right now, some of us are back in school. I know you just got back from Honduras, and then we have just different things going on. We have school, we have there's an election coming up. People are going crazy. People are losing their minds. There's so much hate that we see out today that we can get caught up. And I'm the first one to say, like, I get caught up in like my work. I get caught up in other things. And I've fallen so many times to where I'm not spending my time with the Lord. But I feel that Oikos, this is, even though we're only here for like an hour and a half sometimes, or 2 hours, this is our time that we keep sacred. And this is the time that we spend with the Lord. Is it enough? No. But sometimes like this is all we get. But in reality, we should be spending time with the Lord. When we come home, I'm not talking about like, coming home to your house. When we say that this is our home, this is not, the avenue. I don't live here. I'm always here because I work here, but like, I don't live here. This isn't our house. But when we say we come home, we're coming home to Jesus, and Jesus is the one who gives us our rest. This is how we get back to work. This is how we're refreshed and rejuvenated for the work ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we'll call it a night. So Father, I thank you for being here tonight. I thank you for allowing us to be able to make it tonight, despite like our busy schedules and everything going on, Lord. I pray for those who aren't here tonight, God. I pray that they encounter you, Lord, that they find you, that they feel you, God. I pray for our hearts to be open to you, Lord, and I pray that, with all the distractions in life right now, God, I pray against that. Anything that tries to take us from you, God, anything that tries to disrupt that holy time that you set for us, Lord, or that time that we set for you, God, I pray that we grow hungrier for you every day. And I pray that we grow closer to you every day. I pray that we continue to stay hungry and thirsty, that we're poor in spirit, that we never have enough of you, Jesus. So I pray for each of us in here tonight, Lord, and myself included, that we make that dedication, that want to just be with you. So I pray, Lord, that you just touch us, that you be with us tonight. I thank you, Lord, for what you're doing, and I pray that you continue to work and you continue to move. I pray healing touch for those who need it, God. And Lord, I thank you for who you are and what you do, Lord.